The Los Angeles Lakers buy, sell, hold, implode.
I mean, there got to be a buyer, but you just mentioned 10 seconds ago, like every asset they have, which is, Horton-Tucker, none, and that 27 first. Which, by the way, that 27 first, like, who knows?
Here's my thing.
Okay, you got to think.
I know people point out that the Lakers always seem to get free agents. We did just we're only a little bit removed from a period in which they sucked something awful.
For 10 years. For like 10 years. And they were terrible.
This is my issue, though. Which front office exec, I don't even know what to call them anymore. I've been calling them Emperor of Basketball Operations. Which Emperor of Basketball Operations has the job security to sell to his bosses, their bosses, that, this pick that's basically a half decade away or more, if it conveys in 2028, as a primary asset to where it doesn't damage your job security. And then let's just assume there is that executive out there, which, by the way, there is not. I would argue
Bob Myers
and Presti are the only two executives that have and maybe is R.C. Buford's to the top basketball exec in San Antonio. Their front office structure is so weird. But so let's just say San Antonio, Toronto, and OKC, I think, would be the only destinations or teams where there'd be job security for them, that regime, to view this as an asset. And that's sort of where, and then let's just say there is someone who views it as an asset. Who's the best player, realistically, that you're getting for Talen Horton-Tucker, who, by the way, is shooting fairly well outside the restricted area lately? But Talen Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn, who hasn't played this season, and has a player option for next season that he is going to pick up, plus that 2027 first. Like, who's the best player you could get? And if that best player is Eric Gordon, if you're the Lakers, are you doing it? Because then all of a sudden you've spent your last best hand on Eric Gordon.
I mean, first of all, Eric Gordon was the player I was thinking of.
It would help, but it's just like, at the end of the day, you're giving up a 2027 first round pick for someone who will probably be at least 2 years retired by that point, if not 3 or 4.
You know what, though? I still do it. I still would do it. Because, like, Horton, None hasn't played. Horton-Tucker is just like, if Horton-Tucker were on some other random team, we would talk about him 10% as often as we talk about him because he's on the Lakers. And he's like the only game in town as far as like a young, promising, I'm making air quotes, player. I think Gordon is it might be just absolutely as good as it could get. And I would do it just because now, now we got a $19-ish million player that we could spin into a bigger trade for an even more expensive guy somehow, some way. I just don't. Round pick. Yeah, somehow, even though we don't have any firsts anymore to trade. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Lakers just don't. You can't trade Westbrook. It doesn't seem possible. You should definitely just trade DeAndre Jordan and Kent Bazemore if you can find like anyone to fill roster spots and just try to make that happen. But yeah, they need to do a lot, and they don't have the tools to do almost anything. So I mean, they're buyers, but like they're like the buyers that walk into a high-end car dealership and just didn't bring the checkbook. Like there's they can look all they want, but I just don't see a way to make anything significant happen.
And they did this to themselves, by the way, because there was
right, yeah.
If you're ever going to make a consolidation trade like you did, and it's not for a player who's a no-brainer fit, there at least has to be a clear vision to his working out within the context of the rest of your team. And that never existed with Westbrook. The biggest argument in favor of him was just imagine what he can do in the non-LeBron minutes or when LeBron doesn't play. That doesn't fucking help you in the finals if that's where you want to get, because LeBron's going to be playing. So right. To give up that much for him too is a disaster. Now, Mason Ginsburg, a co-host of the In the Know podcast, which covers the New Orleans Pelicans, brought up the idea that the Lakers could, if there was a way in theory, I don't know what New Orleans would need, but let's say the Lakers give them something so that they agree to take the 2024 pick. They no longer have the option to defer to 2025. The Lakers can then trade 2 first-round picks and a swap, 2026 and 2028 first, plus a 2027 swap. If you're the Lakers and there's a pathway to doing that, would you do that? And 2, how much more appealing is that offer as a team? Because I would argue 2026 is still far away, but now it's like, we have 2 of those first round picks.
It's way easier to sell. But then the question, it's still, what are you getting for that? Of the players that are available? What are, Jaylen Brown, not gonna happen.
Oh,
Like
I would say like, and you would need to ladder your way to this still, but I think Harrison Barnes would be like the peak, like just below a Jeremy Grant. I don't think Detroit would do it. So if it's Jeremy Grant or Harrison Barnes, are you doing it?
I mean, you might as well, because like your franchise is kind of done once LeBron is gone, right? Like, and it's so. I think being pot committed is kind of like not a great way to operate, but like, yeah, man, why not? Like, just just the other thing is, if I'm New Orleans, like, you're gonna have to pay up a little bit. Like, I don't know what I need from you to agree to this, but if I'm New Orleans, like, I'm not just gonna go along with this, because I know how bad I know what the urgency level is.
Right. I don't even know what they could feasibly give up, because you can't give up, giving up another first to do that does not help them in the slightest. No. And they don't even have any good second round picks. They have Washington's 2028 second. They have a
2028.
They have a 2023 second from Chicago.
Okay, so that's in the 50s probably. Cool.
They have a 2024 second round pick, less favorable of Washington or Memphis. You could give them 3 seconds to do it. I don't know why New Orleans would do that, but let's just say they did. I'd probably do it if I'm the Lakers too, because your urgency is very much now. They're saving grace, so we're not just shitting all over them. The numbers when Anthony Davis is at the 5 with Russ and LeBron on the court, the Lakers are straight annihilating opponents. And so if Anthony Davis and LeBron are healthy, I'd probably give them a chance to do like something semi-special. But yeah, they're clearly nowhere where they need to be.